Welcome into another Locked On Now NBA Insider Report. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens, joined by our Locked On Now NBA Insider and Sirius XM radio host, Antonio Daniels. And we got some late breaking news this time around. LeBron James has entered the health and safety protocol for the NBA. At this point, as we're taping this video, we don't have exact details, but this is obviously in some way related to COVID. If he does have COVID, he'll have to be out 10 days unless he can return 2 negative COVID tests. Either way, he's going to miss some time. He's out in tonight's game against the Kings. Antonio, what's your immediate reaction to this?
My immediate reaction for the Lakers, this is awful.
It's not
This
good.
is awful. The thing that we got a good sample size of seeing is what this team looks like without LeBron. We even know that they had 3 top 75 guys on that roster without him, and Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Anthony Davis. We still saw what they look like without LeBron. They were 4-7 without LeBron. 4-7, 7-4 with. So with all that being said, for the Lakers, this is not good news at all because you had yet to hit your stride. You yet to find any rhythm. And then LeBron being there half the time and out half the time, that doesn't help. But also for the NBA as a whole, because this is one of the brightest stars that this league has seen ever. And now you're talking about national TV games like they played the Clippers, I believe, on Friday on national TV. That kind of loses a little bit of muster. There's no more professional sports league that's as star-driven as the NBA is. One player makes a heck of a difference. So you remove LeBron from that equation, it puts a different responsibility and accountability on a Russell Westbrook, on an Anthony Davis, on a Carmelo Anthony, and the rest of the guys on that roster.
And, if he does end up missing, LeBron's out for 10 days, that's 5 games. As you mentioned, Clippers, that's always a big matchup. They're playing the Celtics as well, which you always get, a lot of fans tuning in for. What kind of, it feels like everything's been going wrong for them so far this season, obviously with a little bit of that brawl breaking out, and then just no consistency from the rest of the team either. Anthony Davis is missing games. There's other people missing games. What do the Lakers need to do while LeBron is out to try to get this back together?
This is tough. I cannot lie to you, Kainani. And the reason that it's tough is because the Lakers right now are built solely on star power.
Yeah.
They're in win now mode. And it's very, very difficult to be successful when you just assemble everything together and go off of names and not fit. Mm-hmm. So when you look at the trade, the Russell Westbrook trade, and I said when it happened this summer on our Sirius XM show that I thought that the Washington Wizards won that trade. I think Russell Westbrook is the best player in that trade by far, with Kyle Kuzma and KCP and those guys. I get it. But for me, when you're talking about success in this league, it's not about names. It's about fit. Mm-hmm. And you look at how Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, who's been fantastic for the Washington Wizards this year, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope fit with Bradley Beal. Their skill sets complement what Bradley Beal needs. That's why Washington is off to a great start. Now you go to the other side, and again, we're not talking about name, we're just talking about fit. And you look at Russell Westbrook's skill set, and how does that complement what LeBron James and Anthony Davis need? So that's my issue. I don't think it's a fact of everything's going wrong with them. I just don't think that the pieces of the puzzle fit together yet. And that takes time. And it's tough to develop that chemistry and that camaraderie when, like you said, Kainani, when LeBron's out. Then LeBron comes back, then Anthony Davis is out. And then this guy's out. And none has yet to play yet. So when you have guys that are constantly in and out of the lineup, it's very, very difficult to develop any sort of chemistry moving forward.
And we see tons of these super teams forming, over the past couple of years and so on. But a lot of that is, the glue and the pieces that make things work. And as LeBron's gotten later into his career, he's become that. he can score a ton, but he can play whatever role he needs to help, some of his younger stars around him, whether that's Russell or Anthony Davis. Is this just one of those kind of just try to keep your head above water, get through these 10 days and just figure it out later?
Yes, but think about the conversation we're having, though. Like, we're asking the Lakers to keep their head above water, but if you look at this roster,
right,
and the way it's constructed as far as pure talent is concerned, again, you have Russell Westbrook, You have Anthony Davis in his prime. You have Carmelo Anthony, whose skill set complements what they need. Then you have guys like Malik Monk and THT. So it's weird. Dwight Howard, who we haven't even talked about, first ballot Hall of Famer, Rajon Rondo, some of these other guys. So keeping your head above water sounds different because of the way this roster is constructed, but it's a necessity. Because
certainly,
again, we have to go back to their record with LeBron 7-4, without LeBron 4-7. This is an 11-11 team right now, a 500 team. The Lakers, I don't care how they're constructed, with this sort of talent, should be better than 11-11. I think we can all agree on that. So without LeBron, maybe this kind of gives them an opportunity to kind of fall into their role. I'll say this, Kainani. I say this. If Anthony Davis is not the best player on the floor for the Los Angeles Lakers, I don't see them being nearly as successful as they should be. I don't care if LeBron is there or not. If LeBron, Russell Westbrook, and all these other guys, Anthony Davis needs to be the best player on the floor, in my opinion.
And this is a time where he can step up and kind of show that, especially with LeBron out for this amount of time. He'll have the minutes, he'll have the role, he'll be able to do that if he can.
He'll have the responsibility.
Yeah,
he'll have the responsibility. Like he's had it. So this is not a situation where you have guys, you're asking guys to do something they've never done before. Russell Westbrook has led a team. Anthony Davis has led a team. Carmelo Anthony has led a team. Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, these guys have led teams. But how does it look when you put all these egos at the same table and you have to find a way to lead and be successful together? That's where the difficult part comes in.
And also a little bit in terms of, keeping their head above water. They're not in an easy conference. They're in the Western Conference. If they tank these 5 games, that puts them in, obviously we know what they can do in the playoffs, but you don't want to put yourself in the bottom of this playoff structure and really have to earn it the whole way up. You'd like to be a higher seed. Is that something that comes into play where you're just trying to?
You have to think about that just because of what transpired last year.
Right.
This same situation that you're talking about, obviously not with COVID, but with injuries, happened last year, where they had to play themselves into the playoffs. They were in the play-in game last year. So remember before last year started, LeBron loved the play-in game. He came out and said, man, that's a great idea for this team and this team and this team. But then they were in the play-in game. It's like, I'm not really a fan of this. They need to do away with this. So you do want to stay out of the play-in game if they're the Los Angeles Lakers. But if you look over the past now 3 years, you have to look at how often LeBron has been in and out the lineup. And as great as he is, and yes, he's in the GOAT conversation, but Father Time is undefeated. It starts to take a toll on your body, not just in the injuries, but in the way that your body responds to those particular injuries. When you're younger, you twist your ankle, you're out 1 to 2 weeks. As you start to get older, that 1 to 2 weeks turns into 4 to 6 weeks. That 4 to 6 weeks turns into 6 to 8 weeks. That's when Father Time really starts to work. So why they have this championship window here with a prime Anthony Davis and a LeBron James that is still extremely dominant with other players around them, they have to take advantage of it. But to take advantage of it, you need all hands on deck.
At this point, we still don't know if LeBron does have COVID or not, but he could be out for up to 10 days, possibility of returning a little bit sooner, but we'll have to keep an eye on that, of course, and see what kind of effect this has on the Lakers. Antonio Daniels, our Locked On NBA insider, XM Sirius radio host. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Now.